Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to make a cover, and this particular cover is for my Prima Christmas in the Country album. However, I'm going to post it separately in my design basics as well, so that, not design basics, but construction basics, because we do this in almost every single project I make just this way. So rather than record it and show it to you every single time the same thing, I'm going to try just referring you to, hey, when it comes time to make your cover, just watch this video, make it just like this video, just in the interest of trying to save some time in the videos. If you don't like that, let me know down below and I'll keep putting it in every video. If the cover is ever slightly different in any way or a different design, of course, I will show you how to do it in the project. So I'm going to give you measurements today, but these measurements are specifically for this Christmas in the Country album. If you're making another album, I'll mention how you should adjust your measurements. So what you're going to need, this particular album is going to be vertical. It could work the same for horizontal, but this one's vertical. You need a front and a back. And I make my fronts and backs about 1/2 inch, almost always a 1/2 inch, larger than the finished size of my page. So if I'm making a 6x6 book, I'll make my cover 6.5 by 6.5. And you know, whatever measurement, just add a 1/2 inch is how I do that. Then the way that you decide on the width for your spine, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is just make and decorate all your pages, stack them up, measure how much you think you'll need. The other way, and this is how I usually do it, I'm looking for my scrap that might have my measurements on it. Here it is. All right, so this method, let me grab a pencil. What I do is I know I want 2 inches on either side of my pages to go across my binding and onto the front and back to secure the binding. And then I have 4 pages with a 1/2 inch up and a 1/2 inch down, right? So each of these will be, folded in, and they won't really count on the width of the measurement. You'll need that for the width of the piece of paper that you're making your binding, but not for how wide your actual spine needs to be. So what I know I want is a 1/2 inch, and then I want a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, a 1/2 inch and a page, right? So that means I have a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch between each of the pages and a 1/2 inch here, right? So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 1/2 inches. Okay, so that means I have 2 1/2 inches equals an inch, right? And I have 5, so that means I have 2 1/2 inches, and that's how big my spine needs to be. All right, so that's what I have now for this book. And I have used the full score tape sheets to cover the backs of my chipboard. It's medium weight chipboard, and I do cut mine on my paper trimmer, but I have a dedicated paper trimmer that I only cut chipboard with. If you don't have that, then I would use maybe a good sharp craft knife and a metal ruler or something like that, because you'll wreck your paper trimmer if you trim chipboard on it. Okay, and I don't mind because, as I said, I have a one that I only cut chipboard with. Now, your paper, what you need, let me take this. You need a piece that is 2 inches taller than your book. Okay, so if your pages are going to open this way, then it needs to be 2 inches taller, an inch here and an inch here. Mine's going this way. All right, then you need a piece that's an inch wider at either end. Let me put this down. Okay, so you're going to need an inch, the width of your front cover, 1/4 inch, the width of your spine, 1/4 inch, the width of your back cover, and then an inch. Typically, I will just take a full 12-inch wide sheet, cut it to the right height, and then trim it later. Okay, and I do like my seam to be right centered on my spine. So that's how we're doing it. There are plenty of other ways you can center it on the back. And if I'm doing a book where I'm going to do that, I will show you how to do it. But for this one, we're doing our basic spine. I like to use art glitter glue to join my pieces. I like the flexibility that it has over score tape for this, but you can use score tape. I do recommend, if you are using score tape, that you use the narrowest, maybe 1/8 inch. So you're just running a thin bead of glue. I line up the bottom of this paper on one of the lines on my craft board, and then I will line up this piece with this line just to get it reasonably straight. Whoop, could have overlapped it just a little more. And again, just like that. Burnish that really well. And then turn it over. I am using artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations for this. All right. Now, I like to start with my spine. So I'm going to grab a little sharp tool so that I can pull the back off of that. And I want a clear ruler, which I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to use my Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to lay it down so that I have 1 inch up from the bottom. Okay, you can eyeball all this if you feel comfortable with that. All right. Just removing the back from the score tape, which can be challenging. And just make sure you've burnished it really well. If it really won't come up, you probably have not burnished it enough. Okay, and then I have a little overlap, so I'm just going to burnish that down. There we go. And this piece for the book, I believe I've already told you, is 2.5 by 9 for the Prima Christmas in the Country project, which is a design team project for Country Craft Creations. So let's put that down just like that. Okay. Burnish that well. We're going to turn it over and burnish from the other side as well, but we'll wait till we get the other pieces. All right, then after I put that piece down, I'm going to put down 1/4 inch piece of score tape on either side, right up against the spine. This is really just to help you gauge the distance for the other pieces, so you don't have to I mean, you want to get it on there straight because that part's important, but I'm just gonna tear it. You know, it's a little short at each end, but that's fine because it's not actually that important in the construction. And if you prefer to eyeball this distance, then by all means do so. And if you, I was going to say if you prefer it narrower, make it narrower, but I'm sorry, that's my microphone cord. You risk cracking your cover when you don't leave enough space. And artisan cardstock really doesn't crack very much, but one thing that might make it is not leaving enough space. Okay, so I'm just burnishing that a little bit. And now we'll take one of our larger pieces. And again, I'm going to place that ruler there. And you can use whatever adhesive you like when you're making covers. You don't need these big sheets. I like them because they're really fast and make the project, making the cover process go quickly. But use whatever adhesive you like. Sometimes I'll just use score tape all the way around and then Fabri-Tac in the middle. That works. Okay, now I've got my ruler and I am laying this down awkwardly. Whoop. And the most important thing at this point is that these be straight in relationship to each other. If they're a little cockeyed on the paper, that's fine. You're going to fold it all over anyway, but they need to be straight. This line here needs to be straight with each other, okay? So at this point, I'm not even going to worry about how it looks down here, although it does look nice and straight. And I'm just putting my ruler up against these two, and I'm going to put the next piece down as it relates to them. And let's turn that over and burnish. Okay. All right. Now. All right, so the next step, this is actually a little bit more than an inch, but I'm not worried about that. That's fine. I like to miter my corners. So let me just go ahead and put this pin in here. So what we need to do is cut at a 45-degree angle each of these corners, and you want to leave a space that is about the same width as your chipboard. And I found that the Tim Holtz ruler actually is that width. I generally eyeball it, but if you don't want to eyeball it, and I don't blame you if you don't, then you want to just go ahead, take your Tim Holtz ruler, lay it there, and just draw a line. And I am estimating my 45-degree angle. You can use a line on your board if you prefer. You can do that. And if you've watched many of my videos, you know I typically just eyeball that corner. Okay. There we go. And then we're going to cut. Make sure it's under the camera. Didn't cut that very straight. Okay. Okay, just like that. Then I just like to lift and fold over just to, and you can do it like that, just to get it started going the direction you want. And you can put your tape down first if you prefer, but I generally do it at this point. Okay. And you can use your bone folder if you like to really get those corners up. Sorry if the camera's shaking. I'm pushing pretty hard so my table's shaking. Okay, there we go. All right, now you want to take your tape, and I prefer 3/8 inch for this. And I'm opening a new package. Sorry if that was obnoxiously loud. Okay. Right. And what you can do at this point is pull up these just so they're out of the way. And then run your tape all the way around the cardboard and the cover. And actually, I probably should have done this before I cut my corners, just because it's easier. You don't have to try and angle the tape. There we go. Okay. All right. Over. Okay. And let's see, I just want to angle this a little bit. Okay. This is a big cover, so I hope you can see. And last one. And once you've made quite a few of these, you can get one put together in about 15 minutes, I find. 15-20 minutes. Maybe even less. Okay. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and burnish. Get rid of that ruler, and that scissor rather. Turn it this way. Now we're going to do the long sides first. I'm going to start with this side. Sorry that my microphone cord is probably showing, but one of these days I'll get a wireless one. Oh, it looks like I didn't burnish that very well. All right, and you don't need to put any glue at this point, but I generally put just a little bead along there. Hopefully that was coming out. I can't see it from where I'm at. Yeah. Okay, and then I start with the middle, pull it over really well. I want it nice and tight. You can use your bone folder if you need to. And you want to work from the middle to the outside so you can work any bubbles out. You don't trap them in it. Okay. And probably should take usually I peel up these little sides, but I forgot. Even though we're not doing that side yet, we'll just get it out of the way. Okay, and then we're going to do this side. Okay. Oops, almost forgot my glue. Let's do that. Again, you're going to start in the middle, just pull it over and work your way to the end, working out any bubbles as you go. And you really want to make sure these are nice and tight against the edges of your chipboard. Now, before you do this end, you need to tuck in these little corners. I hope you can see that. You see right here where the diagonal goes up and off the corner there, and it comes out. So you just want to tuck that in, and you can do it by hand. I usually will use a bone folder or my scissors or something like that. Some sort of tool is usually easier, although your fingernails can work like that. Okay, just get it tucked in. And I just used my fingernail for that one. And let's use our glue. I feel like I got that one tucked in a little too far, but no, it'll be fine. So just use your bone folder to make sure it's up nice and tight. And pull it over again, starting in the middle, and just work your way to the corner and work your way to the corner. There we go. And then I just rub the bone folder there. So you can see we got a good corner there. It's a little clunky there, but that's okay. And I'm just going to tuck this corner in with my fingernail. And this one. Okay. And pull that over. And there we go. Nice, smooth, mitered corners. Okay, you can do them square if you prefer. This is how I generally do them. All right, and then pull this over. Once you've done that, you just want to work it very gently. You want to get your bone folder in there like this larger one for this, because you're less likely to poke right through the paper. And just gradually work. You want to get this down in against that adhesive that's there. Okay. And just bend your cover up. Okay. Okay. Let's get that up there. Go. Okay, and there we have a cover. Let's go. All right. Now, depending on the book that you're doing, you may fully line your cover. You may only line this area, or you may not line it at all. You know, it just depends on the particular book that you want to make. But this is how you make your basic wrapped cover. Okay. I hope you find this helpful. And again, I'm going to be including this footage at the beginning of the Christmas in the Country Prima album, Design Team Project for Country Craft Creations, which I'm working on right now, but I'm also going to post this as a separate piece of footage for how to make covers in my Construction Basics series. All right, but if you're making Christmas in the Country, we are going to move along with our next step, which is going to be making our binding. All right, so we've made our cover, and now we're going to do the binding bits. For that, we need a piece. I've got my big scoreboard out for this. That is 8 3/8 by 9. Okay. Let's select 3/8, that's the 9. Okay, so you want to put the 9-inch side along the top of your scoreboard. You want to score at 2 inches. Okay, then you want to score at 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, and 7. Okay. So you're going to start at the 2-inch mark, go to the 7-inch mark, scoring every 1/2 inch. All right. And then, let's see, we want to fold this way. Let me get my 3/8 inch score tape. And you want to put a piece of tape right between the first 2 score marks. Okay. Then you want to skip the next 2 and put one there in the next one. And then skip the next 2 and put one there. And then skip the next 2 and put one here. And I feel like I'm missing a score mark. I should have one more. Hang on. If I measured incorrectly. Yep, I need one more score mark. And all right, so consult your cutting guide that I will have given you and adjust this to be 8 3/8 by 9.5. And then you want to score starting at the 2-inch mark and going to the 7.5. And mine's going to be a little short, but that's okay. Actually, I want to score that on this side. Okay. All right. Okay. Did I do that at the right end? Yeah. Okay. So now, where is my little tool? Here we go. What we're going to do is fold over. So we're going to take the one with the tape and fold it over the next one. Okay. Burnish it. And then we'll fold this back on itself. Okay. And then back this way. So what we've done is made a peak. Okay. Remove the back of the score tape and fold. Okay. And you want to work these a lot as you're making these, because the more flexible you can make these little fins, is what I call them, then the more flexible your page is going to be. All right. So that's the first one. Then this next little section without the tape is going to be flat. Okay, and then you're going to fold this piece of score tape over onto the next one. Okay, and you can go ahead and remove the back and do that again. Okay. Alright, then you want to fold it back on itself again. Sorry, this is something I feel like doesn't always show up very well in videos, so I hope it's clear. Okay, so now we have two fins with a flat space in between. Okay, I'm just going to repeat. So the next little section here is going to be flat, and then we're going to fold the piece with the score tape over so that it covers the next piece. Remove the score tape. Okay. That. It's a little trickier as you get further in. Now we have 3 of these, and you can see each time I'm working them back and forth. Burnish them. Okay. Go. All right. And then we have the last one. We have the same situation. We're going to take the one with the score tape and fold it over. Remove that score tape. Fold it over again. Really well in all directions. Now, what I like to do, the reason I make this at this point is I like to have my binding made, and yours will be full width here, but it's okay. Before I decide if I want to line, the inside of my cover or the spine, and I don't really think I need to. I think it looks good. I'm just going to slide that over a little bit, maybe. That's my little door here. Just should be about a 1/2 inch from each side. Just to move it over a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to add the bulk of lining. It's not necessary. This goes far enough over that there'll be pockets and matting and whatever else is going to go on this cover. So the next step with this cover is, here's my tape. I'm going to put tape, and you could do this before you fold it up, but I'm just going to do it this way. All right. We're going to put tape down each of these sections that we have here, and I'm not crossing over the little folded area because I used to, but I was watching, I think I mentioned, I watched Ginger Rot and a video that she did, and she said she avoids putting tape in that section because she feels like it makes the pages less flexible. And so I am all about making sure my pages are flexible, so I'm following her advice and not putting tape there. Just ran out of tape. That's all right, I have a new one sitting right here. Stuck to my finger. Okay. there we will tape the rest of this. And I do have some scraps left over from my full-size sheets, but I think I'll just go ahead and use this. Maybe I will use those. Let's see. So just see, I've got this, looks like it's a little wide, but that's okay. Go. That's good. Cut it a little narrow, but that's all right. I can. Just to make that a little easier. Of course, you can use the narrower pieces. I happen to have the sheet, so that's what I used. All right. All right, so now what I want to do is center that top to bottom and side to side. That'll do. Okay. That looks good. And then we will just you can see I'm just sort of rolling it on. Okay. Looks pretty good. And then you want to burnish that really well. And once again, you want to gently, with your bone folder, work that crease so that you can lift up your cover. Okay. There we go. There we go. So kind of a fat little album, but that's okay because we want to put lots and lots of decoration on this album and inserts and all kinds of things. Okay, so there's our cover. Looks nice, nice and neat. And we will set this aside. I think I'm going to end this video now so that it's kind of standalone, making that cover and binding. And then I'll start the next video, which I may post the same day. We'll see. And we're going to start with our decorative paper and with our matting, and we're going to do some of the matting outside the book, and then we'll do some of the matting inside the book. And we also have a couple of pages that we had to mat before we could do all the elements, so we need to do those as well. I'm not sure at what point we're going to get to those, but we need to do those as well. So that is that. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you are not subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you did so. Just hit the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. If you're already a subscriber, thank you. I really appreciate it. And This is a design team project for Country Craft Creations. This paper that I'm using today is the linen artisan cardstock. It's a beautiful color, and I'm finding it really useful. I've been using it lately a lot, and you can get that at Country Craft Creations as well as all the other supplies for this book. So I will see you next time, and just comment down below if you have any questions. Bye-bye.